Let's kick off this explainer by looking at a number that might actually surprise you. 2.3%. That's the exact credit card processing fee the Vermont DMV slaps onto all online and in-person transactions. But here's the good news. If you master the Vermont DMV's mail-in registration process, you can completely avoid this fee by simply using a check or a money order. So if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by administrative red tape, or if you just want to save a few bucks while keeping your vehicle legal, you are absolutely in the right place.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking all that bureaucratic red tape and transforming it into an easy-to-follow playbook for renewing your vehicle registration by mail in Vermont. We're going to break down everything you need to know, from the absolute basics to some really clever pro tips that are going to save you time, money, and a whole lot of frustration.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll run through the registration basics, required documents, step-by-step mail renewal, common FAQs, pro tips, and we'll wrap up with some real-world scenarios.
All right, jumping right into Section 1, the registration basics. Okay, so vehicle registration is that mandatory annual certification you need to legally operate a motor vehicle on public roads. But here is the most crucial thing to remember. Vermont offers zero grace period. The absolute second it expires, driving that vehicle becomes unlawful. So timely renewal isn't just a suggestion, it's an absolute must. You really don't want to risk getting pulled over and ticketed just because a piece of mail was running a few days late.
Now let's talk numbers, because this is where things get really interesting. The flat $91 base fee actually scales depending on your vehicle's power source, especially with the new EV infrastructure fees introduced for 2025 and 2026. So every standard gas passenger car pays that $91 base fee plus an $8 sticker fee, totaling $99. But if you own a plug-in hybrid, you pay an additional $45 for infrastructure. And wow, if you have a battery electric vehicle, you're looking at a massive $89 infrastructure fee added on top. That brings the total to $188. So yeah, it's definitely no longer a one-size-fits-all calculation.
Moving right along to Section 2, requirements and necessary documents.
Before you even think about finding a mailbox, let's get your paperwork sorted. First and foremost, you need your official pre-printed registration renewal notice. If you somehow lost it, don't panic, you'll just need to use Form VD-119 instead. Next, grab a check or money order for the exact fee amount we just went over. Depending on your specific situation, you might also be required to provide an updated odometer reading. And in rare cases, if a joint owner has unfortunately passed away, you'll need to attach a copy of their death certificate. Taking a minute to gather these correctly the first time is literally your best defense against having your paperwork rejected and mailed back to you.
Oh, and I have to mention this brilliant modernization. Date validation stickers are no longer required on Vermont license plates as of June 1, 2023. That means you are only waiting for your paper registration in the mail. No more trying to scrape a little colored sticker onto your license plate in the freezing winter cold.
Now for the main event, Section 3, step-by-step mail renewal.
Listen up, because this is the ultimate insider hack, knowing whether your mail goes to the fast automated track in Williston or the manual exception track in Montpelier, and it all depends on whether you have that pre-printed notice. If you have the notice, you use the provided envelope and mail it to Williston for automated processing. But if you lost your notice, you have to fill out a new Form VD-119 and mail it to the main headquarters in Montpelier for a manual review. Getting this address wrong is a huge reason people experience processing delays.
So to summarize, just follow these 4 straightforward steps to guarantee a smooth, rejection-free transaction. Step 1, verify all your info. Step 2, sign the document. And a quick tip here, if there are joint owners, only one signature is actually required. Step 3, write that check or money order out to the Vermont DMV for the exact amount. And Step 4, mail it to the correct processing center. Again, that's Williston or Montpelier, depending on your form. If you're wondering why the mailing address matters so much, it really comes down to a strict 2-tiered mail routing protocol. This explains why sending a manual form VD-119 to the Williston automated address will end up delaying your processing. See, Williston relies on fast optical scanning technology designed specifically for those pre-printed forms. They aren't set up for human review of handwritten applications.
Let's pivot now to Section 4, troubleshooting and common FAQs. What happens when things don't go perfectly?
Here's a very common scenario that catches a lot of people off guard. What happens if you move? Will the DMV just forward your renewal notice to your new house? It's a huge misconception that the post office will simply catch and reroute your DMV mail.
The reality is actually much stricter. Vermont law explicitly requires you to notify the DMV within 30 days of an address change. DMV mail is absolutely not forwarded by the USPS. It just gets returned straight to the state. So you have to proactively update your address using the replacement registration form, which is Form VD040. If you don't do this, you simply won't receive your renewal notice in the mail to begin with.
Okay, here's another stressful one. What do you do if you mailed your renewal, but your new registration never arrived? Well, you definitely shouldn't just sit there and wait indefinitely. If your documents are missing in action and you don't notify the DMV within 60 days of issuance, they might actually require you to purchase a replacement out of your own pocket. So always keep an eye on the calendar.
All right, Section 5, Pro Tips for Smooth Renewal.
You are really working against a strict timeline here. Because of potential mail delays, which can honestly take up to 14 days in transit, combined with about 10 business days for the DMV's own processing time, you should always leverage this 60-day early renewal window. 60 days before expiration is the earliest date you can mail your renewal, and doing it right then ensures you aren't ever caught driving without a valid registration.
Let's hit a few more rapid-fire pro tips. Remember our hook at the very beginning? Avoid that 2.3% credit card processing fee entirely by mailing a paper check. Also, if you really drop the ball, you can actually renew a lapsed registration up to 3 years past its expiration date. Next, never assume a 10-day online temporary registration protects you if you decide to mail your forms late. Those temp tags are specifically meant for online transactions. And finally, please double-check your math if you're calculating those new EV fees manually on Form VD119. Trust me, these tips are the difference between dealing with frustrating bureaucracy and having a completely seamless administrative task.
Wrapping things up with Section 6, Real-World Renewal Scenarios.
Let's compare two totally different drivers. Scenario A is a standard gas car owner who kept their notice. For them, it's a breeze. They simply sign the pre-printed form, write a $99 check, and mail it off to Williston. Super simple. But then look at Scenario B. This is a bit more complicated. This driver is a battery electric vehicle owner who lost their notice. Notice how they have a completely different mailing destination and fee structure to worry about. They have to download Form VD119, manually add the base fee, the sticker fee, and the EV fee to write a $188 check. And crucially, they must mail it to Montpelier, not Williston.
Now, before we wrap up, I do need to give a quick disclaimer. Because administrative rules, fee structures, and procedures are always evolving, it's ultimately your responsibility to verify the latest fees and forms directly with the Vermont DMV. What's completely accurate today might be slightly tweaked tomorrow, so always check the primary source.
And that brings us to a final, thought-provoking question to leave you with. With flat gas car fees remaining relatively stable, how will targeted infrastructure fees, like that new $89 charge for electric vehicles, reshape how we fund our roads in the future? It really leaves you wondering how the transition to electric vehicles will permanently alter the landscape of vehicle registration and highway funding in the years to come. Thanks for diving into this explainer with me today, and may your next renewal be fast and absolutely flawless.